Hello. In this episode, you'll find out why I decided to buy my second island. I spent a lot of silver to upgrade it all the way to the maximum level. Then I built 16 houses and upgraded each one to Tier 5. I placed beds and tables in the houses and hired the maximum number of Tier 4 laborers. I'll be sending them to work every day for 30 days. Let's see if all that effort and silver was really worth it. Stick around if you wanted to find out. Hello again. I hope you're still with me. Before we continue, I just want to point out something important. This is a second island, so it's significantly more expensive. Here's a quick comparison. On the left, you can see the cost of a first island with all its upgrades, and on the right, the cost of the second island with all its upgrades. As you can see, the price difference is huge. If you don't have an island yet, don't worry. I'll also show the calculations as if this were my first island, so you'll know roughly what to expect. All right. We already know how much the island cost. The next step was building the houses. Just as a quick reminder, on a maxed out island, level 6, you can place up to 16 houses. The tier of each house determines how many laborers you can keep inside. A Tier 4 house allows only 2 workers, while a Tier 5 lets you have 3. That's 16 extra workers in total if you go for Tier 4-5, a pretty big difference. Higher tier houses also let you place better furniture, support higher tier laborers, and give you more space inside. But for our needs, stopping at Tier 5 made the most sense, so I built 16 Tier 5 houses. To make one of these, you need the following resources. Since we needed 16 of them, here's the total amount. I wasn't in a rush, so I set a few buy orders on the market. After about 3 days, I had everything ready. And here's how much the building materials actually cost. Of course, I could have gotten them cheaper in other cities like Bridgewatch. But honestly, I didn't want to spend time transporting everything, so I just bought them here. In total, constructing all the houses cost me $2,180,000, 250 silver. We already have the island and the houses, but that's not the end of our expenses. We still needed furniture, beds and tables, 1 bed per worker, and 1 table for every 3 workers. It's worth mentioning that there are also different trophies you can place in houses to increase your workers' happiness, but in our setup, they weren't necessary, so we'll skip that for now. So for our expenses, we added 48 beds and 16 tables. I created buy orders on the markets in different cities. In this case, it took a bit longer than with the building materials, but in the end, I managed to get everything. I paid 120,000 silver for the beds and 80,000 silver for the tables. I also purchased 3 T5 chests for our journals in wood, which cost 55,500 silver. Let's add this to our list of expenses. But let's not forget the most important part, the laborers. For these, I also placed buy orders in a few cities, and I had to update my prices quite often, so getting good workers wasn't that easy. In the end, I bought 48 T4 lumberjack contracts for 336,000 silver. Let's add this to our list of one-time expenses. These costs we only have to pay once. It's worth noting that laborers are also an investment. With each returned journal, their experience grows, and over time, their tier increases. That means you could upgrade a Tier 4 laborer all the way to Tier 8 and sell them for profit. But we won't dive deeper into that in this episode. So let's take a look at our one-time expenses list. Summing up all our one-time expenses, the second island cost 29,271,750 silver in total. For comparison, a first island would have cost 9,229,250 silver. That's about 20 million silver less. Now, when we know how much we've already invested, let's take a look at the next set of expenses, this time the variable ones. The journals. For our setup, we need 480 full T2 journals and 960 full T3 journals. In our case, for lumberjacks. It's pretty straightforward. The cheaper we buy full journals and the higher we can sell the empty ones, the more profit we can make. But I'll go into earnings a bit later. As with other expenses, I place buy orders in different cities. Let's start with the T2 journals. On average, I paid 892 silver per journal, which gives us a total of around 428,000 silver. Adding a 2.5% marketplace fee, That comes to roughly 439,000 silver for T2 journals. For T3 journals, the average price was 4,000 silver each, giving a total of 3,840,000 silver. After adding 2.5% fees, that's about 3,936,000 silver. In total, we spent around 4,375,000 silver on journals, which will cover us for 30 days. Over this period, I'll try to buy the next batch of journals as cheaply as possible to maximize profits. All right, we already know the costs, so let's jump 30 days ahead and move on to the next part, the earnings. All our journals have now been returned by our laborers, along with the Tier 2 and Tier 3 wood. We received exactly 27,360 Tier 2 wood and 86,400 Tier 3 wood. In total, our wood with empty books are worth 12,628,000 silver. We could sell all of this on the market in Fort Sterling, but we're going one step further. We'll refine our wood into Tier 3 planks. We'll start, of course, with Tier 2. Refining this tier is free, so there's no silver cost involved. However, it does take some time. I had to do it in several batches, and I ended up with 46,127 T2 planks. Now it's time for Tier 3. This time, we had to pay a small fee for refining, which came to a total of 184,000 silver. We ended up with 68,255 T3 planks. Now everything is worth 15,910,000 silver. All right, but how much profit did we make from this? Well, it depends. We could sell everything right away, wait for the prices to rise a bit, transport it to another city, or sell outside the marketplace, like in chat or Discord groups, which would allow us to skip the marketplace tax. We'll try to get rid of it quickly, so we'll list the planks in Fort Sterling at 195 silver each, and the journals in Limhurst since they should sell faster there. We'll leave them up for a few hours or maybe a couple of days and then check how well they sold. All right, let's jump forward in time again. This time just 2 days. As you can see on the screen, most of our planks have already sold, and the remaining offers are just a matter of time, nothing to worry about. Our journals in Limhurst are selling as well. We already sold all T3 journals, so it's only a matter of time to sell rest of T2. Let's get straight to the summary. We'll sell the T3 planks for 195 silver each, which gives us 12,232,000 silver in total. Let's assume we sell the journals at 500 silver for T2 and 1,000 silver for T3, giving us a bit more than 1 million silver. After deducting refining costs, full journals costs, and all marketplace fees, that leaves us with 8,857,000 pure profit after a month of handing journals. As you can see, buying your first island and upgrading it to level 6 would have already paid for itself. If you had a bit more patience than I did and sold the planks for a slightly higher price, you could instantly cover the costs of furniture and laborers as well. You can also check the daily bonuses. Sometimes there's plus 10% on refining the exact resource you're working with. It's also worth keeping an eye on market prices, since the average price doesn't always reflect what players are really buying your refined materials for. And of course, keep in mind the marketplace taxes. That's it for today's episode. I'd say 9 million silver profit in a month is a pretty solid result. If you need more ideas, or if you have your own methods, make sure to share them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If you found this episode helpful or interesting, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your island in Albion Online.